Today we're going to be pressing and assembling a 5C submersible bowl assembly, starting with the motor adapter. First we'll put the pipe dope in our bearing bore to ease the press. Next we'll place the motor adapter underneath the press, grabbing the correct arbor, placing the bearing straight down underneath the press. And slowly making sure that it's lined up until the bearing is flush with the bottom of the motor adapter. Next we'll move to the intermediate bowl and repeat the same procedure, making sure the bearing is lined up straight. Make sure you do not overpress the bearing. Make sure it's flush with the housing. And we'll repeat the same procedure for the discharge. Pressing and releasing, make sure that the bearing stays straight as you're pressing. Next, we'll take our check shaft to make sure our bearings aren't pinched before we start our assembly process. Next step, we're moving on to the assembly process. We'll choose our taper lock driver. We'll use this end to drive in the taper lock, using this end of the taper lock. This end is tapered. This will be the side we drive. This end is used for disassembly. As you can see, it will slide in. Okay, next we're moving on to the assembly process. First, we need to pick our jig. In this instance, for a 6-inch motor, it will have a 2 7/8 reach from here to here that will give us our correct stick down for this motor. He'll apply a lock bolt with a nut to secure the jig. Next, we'll insert our bolt. This will lock our shaft down. Apply grease to the shaft for our bearing. And insert our shaft. You can see the shaft is bottomed out against the jig. And now we'll lock it down. Be sure to tighten this nut where this will not slip and give you a gap, because then our stick down will be incorrect. Next, we'll install an impeller and taper lock. This will be our first stage. Slide the taper lock into the impeller, and then we'll begin the hammering process. Next, we'll apply grease once more for the next bowl bearing. Slide the bowl onto the shaft. Line up our bolt holes. And our impeller skirt will be the first to be installed into the bowl as such till it bottoms out. And our taper lock is tapered. This end will go into the impeller. And repeat the same process for the next 10 steps. In this process, be sure to line up your castings numbers. We're now building towards the end of our pump. We're to our top impeller. Now to install our top impeller, we'll slide our taper lock in, make sure your impeller's bottomed out. Slide our collet hammer in. And next, you'll leave out a small gap, and next we'll use a rubber mallet to drive this taper lock in. And that's good. Next we come to our upthrust washer, and this is when that will be installed. This particular model does not require the upthrust washer, so we'll have to take this one off. Now we'll grease the shaft and install our discharge.
Would be good.
Okay, next we'll install our plug. We got grease. Okay. Next we'll move down to the other end and we'll remove our motor adapter plate. Next we will check our stick down and our lateral. For our final step, we're going to install our motor coupling and key. This is the key, and it will slide into the groove on the motor coupling, on the motor shaft. Make sure it is bottomed out, and then we'll slide our motor coupling. You can see the groove, and we'll slide that over the key until it bottoms out. And then we'll tighten down our set screws firmly. And that will complete the process of building this pump. We do not install the upthrust washer on this particular model due to the number of stages and the bowl size. Most models will require the upthrust washer installed to ensure the proper amount of lateral.